Happy Friday, everybody. We made it to the end of the week. And today for our Fitness Friday Q&A, I have some really great questions. Thank you to everyone who popped in with a question on Facebook. I heard from quite a few of you this week, so thank you. And I'm going to start off with a question from Angela. Angela says she's read a couple of different things about eating after your workout. She's read that you're supposed to eat right away, or she's also read that when you're trying to lose weight, you want to wait and not eat because your body's burning fat and you want to keep that fat burning going by not eating after you're done working out. This one has a pretty simple answer, and the answer is you want to eat after you work out. Usually within 30 minutes to within 30 minutes to an hour, especially if you're strength training. When you strength train, you break down muscle fiber and you deplete glycogen from your muscles, and both of those things need to be repaired. So within an hour of working out, you should have a moderate serving of protein, something like a protein powder is great, or you can chicken or anything like that. And you also want to have a little bit of a carbohydrate, something like sweet potato or rice cake, something that's really easily broken down and used by your body to repair some of that, I would say damage, but yeah, some of that muscle fiber breakdown that's caused by strength training so that your body can repair and rebuild, and that's how we build new lean muscle tissue. That's not quite the same for cardiovascular exercise. Like if you go running, you don't get that same kind of stimulus to your muscle fibers, but you're still going to want to eat. You do need to replenish some of the energy and glycogen that you've used to power through your workout. The other thing is if you wait after working out for a long time, if you're, try to go a couple hours, you're more likely to end up really hungry and potentially overeating than when you do go to sit down and have a meal. And what's going to drive your fat loss is your overall calorie intake. In a day, are you eating less than you're putting out? Are you burning more calories than you're taking in? That's what's going to contribute to your fat loss. So I wouldn't worry too much about whether or not you're eating right away, not eating right away. Think of you want to refuel after your workouts. You don't want to end up starving where you may overeat and tend to take in more calories than you need to. Thank you, Angela. Great question. My second question comes from Marie. Marie asked about coconut oil. She started using that because she heard that it was a great health food to incorporate into your diet, but then she saw the high levels of saturated fat in coconut oil and became concerned. I love coconut oil. Coconut butter, bring on the coconut. I am all about it. And it is something healthy that you should want to incorporate into your diet. You don't have to be so concerned with the levels of saturated fat. It is almost 90% saturated fat. However, the saturated fat in coconut products, coconut oil and other coconut products, is a different kind of fatty acid chain that's uniquely found in coconut, and it's called MCT, which stands for medium chain triglycerides. And these are fatty acid chains that are used in your body a little bit differently than most fats. Fats are broken down for energy by the body, but usually very slowly, and they can obviously be stored in adipose tissue, which is what leads to fat gain. But MCT actually is metabolized by the body very similarly to the way a carbohydrate is. It's broken down pretty immediately for our energy. And that means that it's much less likely to go to adipose tissue or fat storage. So as with anything, you just want to be mindful of how much coconut oil you're eating because it is very dense. It does have a lot of fat content in it, which can add up pretty quickly calorically. So 2 tablespoons a day, at most. I think 1 tablespoon is fine, is not something that you have to be concerned with the saturated fat. Just as with anything, be mindful of how much overall you're taking in as far as calories and fats. But bring on the coconut. I love it. And our last question today is from Terry. And this is something so many of us have dealt with. Terry wants to know, why is it so much harder to lose weight after the age of 40? And this even goes for people who are over the age of 30, not just 40. I mean, think back. Most of us can remember a time when we were in our 20s that when we wanted to lose weight, all we really had to do was maybe cut calories a little bit, start working out, maybe not even cut calories, just start working out, and you would lose weight. After the age of 30, 40, 50, it becomes that much more difficult. And the reason for that is because as we age, after the age of 30, we start to lose lean muscle mass and bone density, and your metabolism naturally begins to slow. It's just a part of the aging process. And most of us start to lose lean muscle mass if we're not strength training. If you don't strength train to prevent that lean muscle, it starts to break down, and that's going to further slow your metabolism. For women, there's a lot of hormonal things that go on as we age into our 40s and 50s that will affect weight loss as well. It's not hopeless, you guys. It can be done. You're going to have to pay a lot more attention to your diet. The older you get, once you're over 30 and 40, it's really diet that plays a role. You just can't get away with eating the kinds of things that you could eat when you had the metabolism of a 25-year-old. That's just the way it goes. Being mindful of what kind of exercise you're doing, strength training, really, really super important. Even over the age of 60, you still want to be strength training to increase your bone density, keep that lean muscle mass. So you do have to work at it probably a little bit more consistently, a little bit more diligently with your diet the older that you get, but it can be done. I know you guys can do it. You just have to kind of really hang in there and try not to get too discouraged. Thank you for everyone who submitted questions this week. If I didn't get your question in this week, I will be sure to put it on the list for next week. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. See you next week.